All right, everyone ready? Everyone got a seat? Welcome back. So a lot of our partners are using Facebook public content to make their media stories richer. And here to talk to you about that are Allison and Bob. So please, everyone, give a warm welcome.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing? I am Allison Swope, and I am a product manager at Facebook. I want to take a second to welcome all of our media and developer partners who joined us this afternoon. Hey, if you haven't partnered with Facebook before, totally cool. Bob is going to give you information about how you can join our program at the end of the session, and we certainly hope that you'll do that. So the team that I work on is called Public Content. And I think that for a long time, when people thought of publishing to Facebook, they're thinking of really personal things, okay? Engagement announcements, wedding and baby photos, check-ins at restaurants with friends, chronicling your vacation. But I want to say that 18 months ago or so, we started actually looking at the data, and we found that that's just really part of what people talk about on Facebook. The reality is that they really like to talk about the world around them and what's going on. So news, sports, entertainment. And we were pretty encouraged when we actually saw the Trender report come out in July of last year, which, I don't know what slide I'm on. Can I go back? It's like, OK, which said that Facebook has 5 times more TV-related activity on our site than Twitter and every other social network combined. So as a product team, we figured that we should become really serious about providing a really good experience for people who wanted to have these types of conversations and share this kind of content on the platform. And it's been really exciting because into 2014, what we've seen is that the volume of this conversation has just increased. If we measure this in terms of millions of interactions, likes, comments, and shares, and we look at live televised events, the numbers are staggering. So 120 million interactions around the Olympics, 45 million around March Madness, 185 million around the Super Bowl, and 25 million around the Oscars. We've also seen public figures start to adopt the platform personally to share their stories, both with their fans and to interact with other public figures. I actually think that this post from Donnie Wahlberg from this March captures this pretty well.
Okay, so I'm a few years late to the party. So what? I'm Facebooking now, motherfuckers.
So we're seeing lots of fun content like that starting to come out. We're also seeing major announcements. Wayne Rooney announcing that he signed an extended contract with Man U. Derek Jeter, this is the first place he announced that he was retiring from baseball. Major moments, things that are deeply personal and important to these folks, like LeBron James sharing the first photo from his honeymoon. And in a more serious moment, Vin Diesel sharing his reaction and a personal story from the passing of his dear friend, Paul Walker. It's really also fun to see the fan connections that are going on. Here's a fan who received a glove for his son from D'Angelo Williams, and D'Angelo Williams responds on the comments and shares it back with his own personal take. And this is my personal favorite, a young man from New Zealand who reached out to Tyrese Gibson, not expecting any sort of response, crediting him with actually turning his life around. And Tyrese was able to find this content and respond in the comments with an encouraging note. As Draquin says here in the response, "Oh my God, you're so amazing. Thank you. You've made my day." When we look at reactions to events, we're also seeing kind of fun, authentic, off-the-cuff content. Larry Fitzgerald congratulating Bubba Watson, and Dwayne Wade sending a heartfelt condolence to the people who have lost family members in MH370. You also have RG3's reaction to the John Wall dunk in All-Star Week. They're also showing little moments from their everyday lives where we see the interaction with other public figures. So here's Shaun White at the Olympics taking a cute selfie. Diplo and Skrillex watching the Blood Moon with Usher. And this is the fun Obama-Biden selfie from Instagram that Barack Obama reposted to his page. So we have this great content on Facebook, But we actually believe that the highest value conversations and the very best stories are told across platforms and through different kinds of media. And so it's really important to us that we're able to empower you guys, our media and developer partners, to bring Facebook content and data into your programming and integrate it there to tell richer and more relevant stories. To that end, we're really excited to announce 4 new public content APIs today. Many of you have interacted with our trending unit, I'm sure, on desktop. So this is a consumer product that we launched in January of last year, or of this year, rather. And we're actually making this data available via API. It'll be a depersonalized list of what's trending at any given time, and you'll be able to filter it by category, as well as by country for the English-speaking countries that we cover at this time. The next API is Topic Insights. And Topic Insights allows you to look at the volume of conversation happening around a topic, as well as understand how that conversation breaks down in terms of gender and demographics, like age, and geo as well. Some of you may be familiar with our Keyword Insights API that we currently have out, and we developed the Topic Insights API in response to some of the feedback we received around how difficult it was to construct a list of keywords that actually captured that topic. So the idea here is one topic, one query, and you get your data back in a really nice way. The final topic-based API we have to introduce is the Topic Feed API. And this will return to you a list of ranked content that'll actually describe the conversation that's going on in a way that you can understand it. And so you'll actually see the posts that people are making publicly about the topics that are trending or that you're interested in. Finally is the Hashtag Counter API, and this one's pretty exciting because it returns a near real-time count of hashtags that are being used on the platform. We think this will really unlock some interesting use cases where voting and polling are concerned using Facebook. So now I'm going to turn the conversation over to Bob Morgan, who's going to help you understand how you can actually use these APIs and our other developer tools to integrate into your programming and do really fun things.
Thanks, Allison. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Morgan. I manage our public content solutions team, which means we've got a group that focuses on really supporting our media partners and the developers in the media ecosystem to really get the best from our platforms, from Facebook and Instagram. And when we think about some of the data that Allison shared with us about the level of engagement, the scale of engagement around public content, and these major public figures that are breaking news, sharing content, engaging with their fans, we realize just how important it is that we provide the resources and tools for you to get the most from these platforms. So in addition to the great APIs that Allison just reviewed with us, we're also making significant investments in other areas to make this easier for you. So one of the key new resources that we've delivered is the Public Content Solutions Partner Program. So we've identified leading developers in the ecosystem working with media companies, and we're giving them direct support and more information about our APIs. We're getting feedback from them and really helping them build tools to deliver great experiences via our media partners. We're continually identifying new developers. If you're interested in this, as Allison referenced, you can come up and talk with us after the session. We've already doubled it in size since we launched at South by Southwest, and so we're adding all the time. And we spend a lot of time, too, listening to our media partners and really understanding what they're trying to do. And we try to connect them with the best solutions. And so this is something where we really want to create a thriving ecosystem and work between both our media partners and developers to make this thrive. So let's take a look at some of the primary areas where innovation and development is focused. And this is by no means exhaustive, but I just want to give some kind of a framework around 3 key areas for us to think about it. And we see a lot of crossover between these themes to help people tell their stories. But let's just give us some context and some framework to think about what's being developed. So we see a lot of work in data solutions, content integrations, and engagement applications. So in the data solutions area, as Allison mentioned, you can tap into the aggregate anonymized data of the discussion going on across Facebook to help tell your stories and see what the audience cares about most at any given time. And we're making that easier than before, as Allison mentioned, with the Topic Insights API. Very simple to query for a specific topic and get the data back about the level of discussion. So this can be used not only to better understand what the audience cares about, but to tell stories and do visualizations like leaderboards, heat maps, battle maps, graphs. And let's take a look at some of those things, how they've been implemented to date, and we can talk a little bit about how to take these new APIs and extend into the future. So Dancing with the Stars wanted to give better insight as to what their audience cared about on air. And so let's take a look at how they did a social leaderboard.
Welcome back. Well, we have partnered with Facebook, and we want to find out which stars you are talking about as we go out throughout the show. So let's take a look. Right now, it looks like Bill Nye is getting a lot of action, which is really interesting considering he's our lowest scorer. Must be that mean 4. You never know what people are going to respond to. So everybody, keep those posts coming in.
So in this case, I think we're going to assume that Bill Nye is no Frank Sinatra, but he definitely caught the audience's attention. You could see the buzz, and that's an insight that the producers wanted to bring into the show. And we work with these great partners. So in this case, and a few of these that I'm going to show you, Mass Relevance helped us do this work, and now they become spread fast or can do great work with us. If we look in the sports vertical, just for a different flavor of this, Fox created a heat map during the World Series to really show where the fans reside, the level and intensity of chatter. So they used the geographic data that Allison referenced from what is now the Topic Insights API, and they did this interesting heat map.
The fandom map shows us there are loyal Cardinals and Red Sox fans across the country. To brag about your team during tonight's game, head to facebook.com/Fox Sports.
So one of the things I like that they did here is they started mixed methods. So they surface, it's not just data for data's sake, but they have the engagement call to action. So they want to bring the audience into the discussion. So they're driving people to their Facebook page. And when we talk about content integrations and content creation in a moment, this sort of thing of giving some insight about the audience and then inviting them to join into the conversation, it creates new content that can be brought back on air. So you get this nice cycle of the content. So one last data solution example that I wanted to show in the news vertical, so we can kind of look at how this is done across verticals. In this case, Wolf Blitzer, after the President's State of the Union address, uses data from the APIs to really illustrate something about a key moment from the address. So let's take a look at that video.
With over half the country on Facebook, it's a great measure of America's conversation. And tonight, this point really hit home.
Yeah, today, women make up about half our workforce. But they still make 77 cents per every dollar a man earns. That is wrong. And in 2014, it's an embarrassment. Women deserve equal pay for equal work.
Conversation around, quote, equal pay spiked, get this, 33,000% during the speech. That's not a typo. It means the speech sparked a conversation in America that was not happening yesterday. 75% of that conversation came from women, and most of the conversation was among women aged 35 to 54.
So I like what CNN does here, where it's not just data for data's sake, but they're able to dive into it and really tell a story, give you some insight into, yes, there was this massive spike in conversation that wasn't happening yesterday, but who was that resonating with? And Wolf Blitzer is able to illustrate that with use of this, with this data. And before I moved on to some other things, wanted to note, when you look at that baseball example from the World Series, just to give a concrete example of the migration from previous work with Keyword Insights, now that you have the Topics Insights API. Previously, if you wanted to query for a baseball team, you could get great data, but you'd have to think about how you want to construct that. So is it going to be the team name, the player names, their nicknames, maybe the coach's name? You have to package that up, send the query to get the data back. We do all of that semantic analysis for you on our side now and make that much, much easier. So you can just say, give me data about the Boston Red Sox. So it's much more efficient going forward. If we take a look at one of our popular PCS developers, Neverknow, they've put together a visualization framework that actually talks to our Topic Insights API. They have a producer tool that sits in the middle, so you can construct, these are the sorts of things that I want to look for, and it's directly plugged into a Viz scene. So this is on-air ready, and this nice flow where they can query. In this case, we'll look at an inventory of popular Sunday night television shows. So you pull that up, and they've already got the data that they're pulling from the API. So you can select a popular show, you can see the trend line. This is all dynamic. This can be done automatically. It could be any topic, right? It could be running backs in the NFL. It could be musicians in an awards show. Really anything that you want to query for topics, and you have this nice pipeline to get things on air and an interesting customizable visualization. And you can drill in and get demographic data. They also have curation tools, so if you want to get illustrative examples of a celebrity post like Allison was talking about, or posts from fans and bring that in, again, not data for data's sake. You can really see this is what's trending, and here's context and some vibrancy and color of what's coming from the audience to help it tell a story on air. So speaking of content curation, let's talk about integrations that can be done with content. So typically we're talking about pulling photos, videos, posts from Instagram and Facebook to help you tell your story. And that can be celebrity posts, can be fan posts. How do you get it to TV? How do you get it into your digital media products? So revisit our friends at Fox Sports. And for you sports fans, if you remember an NCAA football season this year, the epic, now legendary conclusion of the Iron Bowl, where Auburn took the win in a last-second missed field goal return for a touchdown, Fox Sports tapped some celebrity content to help punctuate the point.
Field goal missed it. Chris Davis took it all the way to the Tigers to pull off yet another miracle and get to the SEC championship game. And you think that Auburn alum was a little bit excited about his team? Check out what Cam Newton posted on his Facebook page. Pretty simple and to the point.
So it is simple and to the point, but that's really the goal. How do we make this dead simple? And with things like the new topic feed API, where you can take a topic and ask us to give the best post back, that flow would be dead simple. So instead of having to go out and try to find interesting posts from celebrities and fans, in this case, we'll tell you, here are the best posts coming back about that game or this particular topic, to make it dead simple to pull something into a curation tool and get it to air. So we have a lot of great curation tools in the PCS program, and I was just going to spend a little bit of time with an up-and-coming developer, VidPresso, who really is focused on getting social content to air as easily as possible. And so in this case, the founder who's here, if you want to meet Randall, he came up in control rooms, really looking at the pain points there and how to simplify things. And he's built a tool that's very simple to get social content and pull it to air. And I think we can cut over the demo. I'll show a few screens. So there's really two components to the tool. One is a web-based tool that you can aim at a Facebook page. You can aim at an Instagram account or hashtag, variety of other things. So in this case, we're going to work with KTVU, a local TV station. And they've been covering, of course, the Golden State Warriors run. So say they want to pull something from Instagram from the Golden State Warriors and get it to air. So there's two parts to it, as I said. There's the curation component on the left-hand side, and then we have a preview of, they have really good customizable stencils that could be full screen, it can be lower third, it can be over the shoulder, really any sort of graphic type that you want to put on screen, and it can be your look. The looks are very customizable. And it's this simple. So you just click a button as a producer, and that's been sent to air. Oh, sorry, Randall. I got it. Sorry. So they have in presentation mode in Chrome on the other screen. So that look is just in a browser window, run through a scan converter. Every control room has one. Again, dead simple. Can be done in a laptop, in a control room, pushing a piece of content to air. But let's say you have a segment that's coming up in the evening, and as you probably noticed, outside it's a little warm. So KTVU does a call to action, like, hey, tell us what you're thinking about a particular topic, and go to our Facebook page. So have a nice call to action. In this case, what's the scroll in here? It's just not doing it. There you go, thanks. So record-breaking heat, we've already created a playlist for the heat wave. So you're able to look at the posts on Facebook, highlight the comments, and you can actually just select things to put them in a playlist. You can just play those in a loop. Click play, and now you got a playlist on air. And the cool thing is if this is on a touchscreen, it's touchscreen enabled, and you can just go ahead and manipulate the content. If you look at something on Instagram, you can zoom in on the photo. It's really dead simple. All right, end of live demo. All right. So if you think about those curation solutions, one of the cool things is now that we have the Trends API and the Topic Feed API, you can introduce things into these curation tools. So you can see the top trends that are the trending topics on Facebook, and you can break it down by category. And so if you have questions about this, the team will be up here. But if you want to look at what's trending in sports or entertainment, we allow you to break it down, and you can pull that into the tool. If you find something that's interesting, you can query again for the top posts, put it all in a tool like this, very simple to use. So now let's talk a little bit about engagement applications. We just looked at how you can pull on-air comments on air very easily. Q&A has become a really popular theme. So especially with Instagram video. So if you want to pull questions on air, you can solicit, hey audience, send us your best questions with a special hashtag, and those can get answered on air. That's become quite popular. We're going to spend a little bit of time looking at voting and polling. So many of you know Telescope, a longtime leader in audience engagement solutions for television, especially for voting for big contest shows. So all your major singing shows, a lot of the things that you've come to know where you're voting, you're interacting, the voting solutions are powered by Telescope. And this season for American Idol, they built a really cool app where it's the Facebook Supervote experience. So it's become a really popular method of voting this season that pulls the audience into the experience very directly in a neat new way. So the app itself is simple, but it's really compelling. Ryan performs a call to action. It says, go to AmericanIdol.com or our app. You log in with Facebook. You can just simply tap or click your favorite performer. And by logging in and voting, the fans have the opportunity to be brought into broadcast in a cool way. And many of you, I'm sure, have seen this.
For the first time ever, we're going to check in with the real-time results of your voting. Behind me are Facebook profile pictures of people who are voting using the online Supervote as we speak. After this, find out what America is thinking of the first 6 performers. Do you see your face? You're looking, aren't you? We'll be right back in MK2 after the break. Hang on.
So I talked earlier about mixing methods of things. As that video goes on, the guys at Telescope and the producers have done another additional thing where they collect data in real time about the votes. And Ryan will interact with a screen where he can show a leaderboard, similar with Dancing with the Stars, but it's live, it's real time. And you can see the trends in the audience in terms of which performers, and it just helps Ryan tell a story about what's going on with the audience now that they've engaged them and brought them into the experience. And we think about what we can do next with voting and polling. The new hashtag counter API that Allison announced today is this really awesome way to just, if you want, it doesn't have to be for a big outcome. If you want people to post to a specific hashtag as their vote, we now support that. And if you want to do something lighter weight, it could be a biker build-off for a motorcycle building show. It could be who wore it best, who's the best shortstop in MLB. If you want to do those kind of quick hit polls and have them hashtag based, we can count those hashtags across the full corpus of data on Facebook in real time. So it could be in show. So you can start with something you want to get a read from the audience, get an instant reaction. You can do that now, and you can show the results in the same show. It's something a lot of our media partners have been asking us to do for some time, and now you'll be able to do that. And before I wrap up and we take some questions, I did want to mention one separate additional resource. So you can tell we're making investments in new APIs, helping support our developer community, and providing additional resources. Last week we announced FB Newswire in partnership with Storyful. So this is a great new resource for journalists and newsrooms where Storyful does a lot of the packaging and vetting of public content that's being shared in the news that's on Facebook. And we have the team that's worked on that here. If you're interested to talk to them after the session, please come on up and we'll make an introduction. So let's recap some of the things that we covered today. 4 new great APIs to help you tell your stories. Lots of different ways to do that and ways that you can mix these things together to tell great stories, data solutions, content integrations, and engagement apps. And lots of innovation going on, in addition to that, from our great PCS partners, a vibrant and growing developer community. And we're here to help. So if you represent a media company or you're interested to learn more about the APIs or the developers in our program, if you're a developer and you're interested to join us, please feel free to come up and talk to us after the session. You can contact us at contentsolutions@fb.com. There's a lot more information on the developer site in the PCS section. And we've got a great, amazing strategic partners, partner manager team working with our media partners, as I mentioned before, connecting you to the best developers. So thanks for your time today, everybody. I know a lot of you traveled a long way to be here with us, and we couldn't appreciate more. I hope you found this valuable. And I'm going to invite some of the team to come on up and take any questions that you have. Thanks again. Really appreciate it.
Raise your hands if you have questions. We'll bring mics to you.
Can you turn my mic back? Yeah, so these guys, this is our engineering team that actually built the APIs that we announced today, so we're pretty stoked to have them here to help answer questions.
What's the link between these new APIs and your existing advertising APIs, if any?
So we're developing these specifically for the use case that we've talked about of integrating content into programming. And so the APIs that are existing for advertisers are, were developed to serve those specific use cases for advertisers. We're more and more talking to the advertising development team to look at places where we might build one API that served more use cases, but we've been building for pretty specific use cases to this point.
Kind of a follow-up on that one. You just mentioned that your APIs were solely designed for, or primarily designed for media, but do you think that companies could use the topics feed for social listening for their own brands? Would that be an appropriate use of that?
You want to take that one, or you want me to take it?
Yeah, I think we really have focused the public content APIs around display purposes or storytelling sorts of things. I think that's something that we look at. We have been keeping them fairly separate from doing analysis around for advertising. The brand thing's interesting because there's some argument that you would be doing display and interesting visualizations around brand campaigns, and it's something I think we're open to talking about. So if you have something specific in mind, feel free. I'm on that email that I mentioned. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have or talk about that in more detail. I think that one's, it would come down to the specifics of what you're trying to accomplish.
So are there any privacy issues regarding showing things like people's avatars and their contents outside Facebook?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. So for any use of the public content where people using Facebook are involved, one of the things why Telescope went the app route in that case is that there's very explicit permissions that you are engaging in an activity where you would be put on broadcast. We also have guidelines. We didn't talk much today about our public feed API, but when people do post publicly, you can have access to that via the public feed API, but there are guidelines that if you're a developer working with us, if you're a media partner working with us, we share those guidelines with you to help make sure that you either get consent or how you can manage content from people using Facebook that are posting publicly. So I think in each case, you take a look at it. That one was very explicit. I'm voting, I'm acknowledging the permissions for the app. And then with things like the public feed, where there's really like this great amount of content coming from public posts, then we do have guidelines for that.
This one here. Someone, is there a mic for him? Oh, she's got it. Thank you, Audrey.
Moving on to the privacy concerns there, one of the challenges we have using the keyword search is that it only surfaces posts that are marked public. Will the hashtag counter and the topic trending stuff, will that reflect posts that are marked private because it is summary data? Can we get more insights into what's going on in private conversation?
Yeah. You want to answer?
I'll take that.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's some subtleties there. I think in terms of aggregate numbers, those see both public and private. As far as actual content you can see, like a story or something, you'll only see that if that's been shared publicly.
So yeah, to be super clear, that the topic insights API, the keyword insights API, and the hashtag counter API will all return aggregated anonymized data. And then the trending API, of course, is a reflection of what the whole platform conversation, including private and public posts. So what's trending globally on the platform. Do you want me to repeat it, or she can repeat it?
Sorry. I was just curious about plans with Instagram and the hashtag tracking and that type of thing, if you have that on the roadmap.
Yeah, we know there's a lot of interest in these sort of things for Instagram, but we don't have plans to integrate the Facebook API with Instagram at this point.
And the Instagram team, I should have pointed out, they have an amazing platform team. They're actually in the developers garage. And so any questions you have about using their platform, great group that's there, I think, until right up till the end of the sessions at 5:30.
Anybody else? Oh, there's one over here.
Hi, thank you. I'm assuming this is all API based and there's no public facing unit. Like, so if I was a news producer and I wanted to log into my Facebook account and find some of this information, it's not available. I need to work with a third party to get at it.
So, of course, the consumer trending unit will continue to show the trends, but that's personalized for somebody's Facebook account. And if you click through any of those topics, you will also get a topic feed of content that will have some similarities, but again, will be personalized. So the API is the only way to get the depersonalized view of each of these. And then the hashtag counter and the insights API are only, like, you can't get any of that sort of data without the API.
And I think I talked a lot about the developer community, and just because that's a big value add, especially we have a lot of developers, they work cross-network. You know, we take a big open content philosophy in our program. You know, we think there's a lot of value in the developers, not only their expertise, but they can sort of serve all of our media partner needs. If you have a dev team that wants to dig in on the APIs directly from a media company, that's fine. But for most folks, you know, getting command of the APIs and working with us to build the tools like some of the ones I showed, there's a ton of value there. So that's kind of the way we think about managing them.
Hello. When you make your queries, are you building the results in real time, or are those like results from cache? And how long does it take for, like, if I make a post, for it to bubble up in the results for when you do a query?
Who wants to take that?
So it depends on the API. The hashtag counter is quite near real time. It's about 15 seconds from the time a hashtag's posted to the time it would be counted and spit out through the API. In terms of the demographics, do you want to?
Yeah, the delay in the demographics one is a bit larger. I think you can expect around 2 to 3 minutes is around, yeah, give or take.
Thank you.
Are we done? Yeah?
More questions?
All right.
It's a wrap.
Thanks for coming, guys. We really
Thanks,
enjoyed
everyone.
it.